Lehrhaus Judaica, in partnership with the Osher Marin JCC, presented a half-day conference in March 2013 entitled Free-Ranging Communities, Jewish Life in Marin and Hollywood. Part of the day focused on the diversity that makes Marin County, California special, to 7 different voices from our community. In this segment, you'll meet Dov and Zviki Govrin, hosts of BEYTI, Beit Tarbut Yisraeli, House of Israeli Culture, where Marin Israelis can gather and celebrate like back home in Israel.
My name's Dov. I grew up here in marvelous Marin with all the opportunities. I'm very blessed. My parents are even still here with me. And so I grew up at Road of Shalom, went to Camp Swig. So I've got all the introductions I don't have to explain because Marlene has so graciously talked about the love of her life, about finding Camp Swig as being that place. But for me, it actually began before going to Camp Swig. My mother, being a devout Zionist and had never been to Israel, sent me to Israel when I was 12 on a bar mitzvah pilgrimage. And it changed my life. The land, the people, the smells, the culture, the dancing. I came home to the very first time. I knew I was where I needed to be. I felt totally identified as an American Jew. There I knew my people and I belonged, and it was the best thing that ever happened. In fact, I did not want to come home. I called Mom. I said, I'm going to sell my ticket. I found a family who's going to adopt me, and I'm going to stay, and I'm going to live here. And of course, they freaked out, went to the rabbi, what do we do? But they suggested that I come home to do my studies. So I did come home, and I went right back to Camp Swig, and I got very involved in Rostig and Kafti and all those Jewish organizations. And when I went to Camp Swig, again, I felt home. I felt that, again, I could be where I am with people that I love. We sang, we danced, we felt, we breathed this Judaism together. And it wasn't in temple. It wasn't, I never really felt the synagogue at that time as being a place where I could really feel my full self. But in Israel and at Camp Swig, that's where I felt the best of who I could be. So I finished my studies, became a dance movement therapist, and then there was an opportunity, and I was working as a dance therapist, and there was an opportunity in Israel to present. They were looking for presenters all over the world, so I came as a movement therapist from California and presented who I am and what do I do, and the response was amazing, and people said, well, if you learn the language, we'll give you a job here. So I went to a kibbutz that had an ulpan where I met my husband, and when I got to the kibbutz, I was more than home than home. I felt my true identity. I loved the land, I loved the people, I loved the culture. I was living Judaism every moment. I did not go to temple. It's a secular kibbutz. There is no rabbi. But I felt I was living like the ancient people of my past. And I knew I was where I needed to be. And it was definitely the most creative, productive, spiritual time of my life with myself living in Israel. And I lived there 20 years, got married, had 3 children. And definitely, my kibbutz is still my home. I'm living here now, but I go back and going back. It's just where I feel I can be totally who I want to be, connected with nature and people and the culture. So 18 years ago, my husband, who had been the general manager of the kibbutz for 5 years, said he needed time off. So we said, let's come back here, visit the folks. I knew they wanted to see us. And so we moved here 18 years ago. My father decided it was time to retire. My husband took over the family business, Goodman Building Supply, and still running the ship. And it was very difficult, the transition from there to here. And I knew we had to do something to bring whatever that love of life, of being home in Israel, here into Marin County. And there's not a lot of Israelis here, and how do we make that transition? And it was definitely a very difficult time for all of us. And so we started a group we called BEYTI. Beit is house, and BEYTI means my house. So we created a program. We are the hosts of BEYTI, which means come to my house, all the Israelis in the area, in Marin, in Greater Marin, in the Bay Area, whoever would like to feel what it feels like to celebrate the holidays the way we do in Israel. Not in synagogue, but how we do in our house with the singing for Sukkot, where everybody comes under our sukkah, we have potluck dinner, and then we all sing and we tell stories and we share, and we feel for the time that the Israeli community is together, we remember being back home in Israel. And we also do this on Yom Ha'atzmaut, the Independence Day the night before. For the fallen soldiers, the Memorial Day, we sing the songs of the fallen, and then we sing the songs for the coming of Independence Day. And so this is what BEYTI is now, Beit Tarbut Yisraeli, the home of Israeli culture. We have created in our backyard and in our home so that we can feel a little bit of what we felt like when we lived in Israel. And so that's BEYTI. And here's my husband. He's going to tell his side of the story, but you've heard mine. This is Zviki Govrin, my husband.
Hi. First, I'm the other half. Born in a kibbutz in Israel. My name is Zviki. The kibbutz is very secular. In the very beginning, was even anti-religious. So the rabbi could not come to the kibbutz. If you want to get married, you have to go to the local town with few witnesses, got married, and then get the real wedding in the kibbutz under, with the agriculture flavor. The kibbutz, as Dov said, was very, very strong in culture. The holidays were not just a celebration for the kids or for the adult, it was the whole community celebration. If you're born in the kibbutz, the first, let's say, in the age of 4, you were dancing a certain dance, and at the age of 5, you were dancing with your parents, and then you were dancing by yourself. And the whole holiday was very well built, so that almost 100% of the population were participating. And now, even today in Israel, and the flavor of agriculture was very, very strong, especially the kibbutz was more than 50% of the income come from agriculture. There's still few holidays in Israel that the city people are coming to the kibbutz to celebrate them. Shavuot is one of them, Sukkot is another, and they're very well known that if you want to feel the real holiday, you have to go to the kibbutz. Whatever left of kibbutz in Israel right now is to celebrate. Moving here was a major transition for me. The idea was kind of a year off, but it's ended up as 3 years working for the kibbutz and for my father-in-law. And when we decide to stay, mostly to be around our Dov's parent, yes, it was in terms of culture, in terms of the holiday, in terms of the language, was very, very difficult for me. And one of the things we thought is to bring the flavor and maybe a little more than the flavor of the holiday and celebrate them the same way we celebrate them in the kibbutz. We did it with most holiday, except maybe Tu B'Shvat, which is we have to plant some tree somewhere, and it didn't work out. But everything else we celebrate. The most effort we put in Purim, adult Purim, because at least the perception from my point of view, you have the holiday here around the kids. There is one family holiday, which is Passover, and then it's around synagogue. If you are very secular like me, there is no real holiday here for you. But if you volunteer to help to transport the kid to the holiday at the synagogue. So we build ourselves the BEYTI, and we start celebrating. The most effort was in Purim. For a few years we have success, and then we didn't, so we stopped that, and we end up with couple singing in you know, in a small group in Israel, it's very, very popular, and everybody know all the songs. So we have this gathering. The food have an Israeli flavor. Now you can find it anywhere, the Mediterranean food, and everybody is bringing their own. And we celebrate Sukkot in a real sukkah under the sky, and a Memorial Day and Independence Day. Most of us that participate are ex-soldier, have been in wars or in the army. So for me, the Memorial Day is more than just you know, a date, and it's memory of a lot of friends that lost their life and the war we have been to. But we create something that keep me still intact in terms of my culture when not to be around my family and friend in Israel. Thank you.